Hello, welcome to this life discovery journey. I'm Jim Laro, your host. Today we're going to discover how to worship. You may be surprised what worship is really all about and what it means to you. This is one of my favorite subjects. I'm really looking forward to our journey, so let's get started with how to worship.
People of Israel, the Lord is speaking, and this is what he's saying. Listen to my message. Why this frenzy of sacrifices? Don't you think I've had my fill of burnt sacrifices, rams, and plump grain-fed calves? Don't you think I've had my fill of the blood from bulls, lambs, and goats? When you come before me, whoever gave you the idea of acting like this? Running here and there, doing this and that? All this sheer commotion in the place provided for worship. Quit your worship charades. I can't stand your trivial religious games, monthly conferences, weekly Sabbaths, special meetings. I can't stand one more. Meetings for this, meetings for that. I hate them. You've worn me out. I'm sick of your religion, while you go right on sinning. When you put on your next prayer performance, I'll be looking the other way. No matter how long or how loud or how often you pray, I will not be listening. And you know why? Because you've been tearing people to pieces. Your hands are bloody. Go home and wash up. Clean up your act. Sweep your lives clean from your evil doings so I don't have to look at them any longer. Say no to wrong. Learn to do good. Work for justice. Help the down and out. Stand up for the homeless. Go to bat for the defenseless.
One of the most important lessons on how to worship is how not to worship. The drama we just watched was from the Bible in the book of Isaiah. The prophet Isaiah was telling God's people what God did not want from them in the way of worship. It was the law back then that if anyone sinned, they needed to bring a living animal such as a cow, a lamb, or a goat to the temple to sacrifice it for their sins. The more they sinned, the more animals it cost them. If you sinned a lot, you can imagine how expensive this became. In addition, they would give up days at a time to celebrate religious feasts and special events to feel better about themselves. God had had enough of it all. He just finally told his prophet Isaiah to tell them all to please just stop the games. In essence, they had turned what was supposed to be a sincere personal relationship with God into an endless charade of religious and social services. But before you think these Old Testament believers crude or barbaric, think about how we pretty much try the same stuff in our supposedly modern, enlightened lives. How many times have you found yourself trying to balance the bad things that you do with the good works and community service you do? How often do you sincerely set aside real time to just express your gratitude to God for all the good he sends you? When you pray, do you speak with him in sincerity, or do you really only go through repetitious, memorized religious prayers? When you sing to him in church, do you do it with all you got, or do you just do what you got to do to get through it? This is not the way that our God, our Heavenly Father, wants to be worshipped. That stuff is useless religious worship. If you were God, would you enjoy that kind of thanksgiving and praise? No, you wouldn't. Neither does God. So how does he want us to worship him? Let's find out.
Please, give me a drink.
How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink of me, a Samaritan woman?
If you knew the gift of God, and who it is who says to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him. He would have given you living water.
Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well, and he himself drank of, as well as his sons and livestock?
Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water which I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water which I shall give him shall become in him a fountain of water, springing up into everlasting life.
Give me this water, that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw.
Go, Call your husband and come back.
I have no husband.
You have well said, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands. The one whom you have now is not your husband. In that you've spoken truly.
Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers came to this mountain to worship, and you Jews say that the only place one ought to worship is in Jerusalem.
Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. The hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeks such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth.
I know that Messiah, and when he comes, he will tell all.
I who speak to you am he.